It's a good exercise to put a blindfold on and throw the whole pot blindfolded.
Het is een goede oefening om eens jezelf te blinddoeken en eens een pot te draaien.
I want it to be pretty smooth, but not completely smooth on the outside, so I'm putting my finger marks back in. Sometimes I want the surface to be completely smooth. This time I want my finger marks plus the glass.
Deze cilinder bereidt hij voor om glasscherven in te rollen. Dus hij wil wel dat de oppervlakte enigszins glad is, maar de sporen van zijn vingers mogen erin blijven om een structuur samen met het glas te geven aan de huid van de vaas.
So when I make the cylinder, I have to make it thick enough, knowing that I'm going to put glass in, because the glass has to be embedded, inlaid into the surface. It can't just be, it has to be inlaid into the clay. It can't just sit on the surface.
Dus als hij met glas werkt, weet hij dat de cilinder dik genoeg moet draaien. Omwille van het glas, het moet echt in de klei zitten, niet gewoon erop plakken.
And the cylinder also has to be soft enough to pick up the clay, and also I'm going to put it back on the wheel and work it. So if you let this, when you're first learning how to do this, you can let this get a little stiffer. It's a little easier to control here. It doesn't collapse so much. But if it gets too dry, then you can't throw it anymore. So.
Dus hij vervormt wel een beetje. Omdat hij het manipuleert bij het inrollen van het glas, vervormt het een beetje. Maar zolang dat alles eigenlijk even dik is,
and it's still centered,
blijft het goed.
again, when I'm throwing dry, it doesn't look like I'm pushing very hard, but you have to push very hard to move the dry clay.
Het lijkt er niet op of dat veel kracht gebruikt, maar je moet wel heel veel kracht uitoefenen om die droge klei eigenlijk de juiste richting te duwen.
And you also have to learn how, not just to push hard, but how to position your fingers and how to push so you don't scrape clay away. You know, you just don't take the clay and just scrape it away when you work, because you don't want to do that. You want to push the clay up and in. You don't want to scrape it off. So there's very subtle ways that you push the clay that you just have to learn from experience. And the fingers that are doing most of the work here are these two.
Deze twee vingers doen het werk daar.
The other fingers are helping to support and also pushing. My thumbs are pushing, but mostly these fingers here.
De duimen gebruikt hij ook, maar meer vooral om te steunen. Het zijn de andere twee vingers die de werk eigenlijk allemaal doen.
When you collar in like this to make a bottle, when I do it, I don't want this to get flat. I want this to stay up like this. I don't want it to flatten. So when I do this, I'm not pushing in and doing this. I'm pushing up. Another subtle difference. Not in and pulling up, because then it will flatten out. I'm always forcing the clay and pushing the clay up as I do it. It's not something that you can easily see me doing, but it's something that I am doing. Now I'm going to add a little water to finish this. Before I do it, if you want to feel how dry this is, come up and feel how dry.
Als je
Before I add
eventjes
the
wel
water,
dichterbij
because this is
kijkt, dan
even
is
drier
het...
than the other one. So. And I trim off as much as I can without compromising the structure of the bottom while it's still wet.
Hij probeert zoveel mogelijk weg te schrapen, maar niet dat het de structuur kan doen inzakken. Dus je moet altijd genoeg nalaten dat er steun is.
Now, I never dry my pots quickly outside like I'm doing now. I'm only doing that because of the workshop so we can finish them. And the taller and the thinner the neck, the more difficult it is to dry them without them warping. So I always dry my pots very slowly in my studio. I would let this dry out in the oven for a few hours, and then I would cover it lightly in plastic so it dries very slowly. That's only, I'm not worried about it cracking, that's only so the neck doesn't warp as it dries.